Hi everyone, it's Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am all donned out. I have my Hufflepuff blanket. Well, this is always here in my videos. I've got some Hufflepuff bracelets. I've got, not wine today, I have my Hufflepuff mug. If you couldn't tell, I'm a Hufflepuff. Today I'm here with my NEWTS Readathon TBR. If you don't know what the NEWTs are, I will leave a link to G at the Book Roast's announcement video. But essentially, the NEWTs are a readathon that takes place the entire month of August. It's kind of a continuation from the Owls readathon from April. And yeah, it's just a fun readathon to make you feel like you're taking your NEWTs or your nastily exhausting wizarding tests. In the month of April, I passed 6 of my Owls. 2 of them were required subjects, and then the rest, I had to choose 1 additional subject, and then the rest were just for fun. Now, in August, for the NEWTs, I have to kind of continue that career path. So I chose the career of journalist/writer. For my NEWTs, I need to get an E in History of Magic, an A in Muggle Studies, and an A in 1 other subject. So the way that this works is each subject has 3 different prompts: your A prompt, your E prompt, and your O prompt. In order to get you have to read your A book first before you can move on to your E, before you can move on to your O. So you can potentially have up to, I don't know, if you wanted to go for all of them, it's like 32, 36 books. I'm not that crazy. For the journalist writer career, you only need to read 4 books, and that's pretty easy for me. So I decided to push myself a little bit more. I want to get an O in the 2 required subjects, which is History of Magic and Muggle Studies, and then at least get an A in all of the other subjects that I completed in April. I'm not going for any NEWTs in subjects that I did not get my Owls in April. So these subjects that I am going to attempt to read in is Muggle Studies, History of Magic, Charms, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Arithmancy, and Astronomy. I selected books for all 3 prompts within all 6 of those subjects, but there's no way I'm going to read 18 books. So yeah. So without further ado, let's get into this. So the first subject is my required subject, and this is the subject I need to get an E in, so I need to read at least 2 books, is History of Magic. So the prompt for A, or acceptable, is read a fantasy, and for that I selected City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. For E, or exceeds expectations, the prompt is read a book that includes a map, and I selected The Infidel Stain by N.J. Carter, and there's a map on both end pages here. So that will be that. And then for an O, it is Tom Riddle's Diary, Fond Memory, Reread a Favorite. So I selected book 2 in the Hannah Swenson series, Strawberry Shortcake Murder. The Hannah Swenson series is one of my favorite series. So I decided, I'm currently reading the first book right now, so I'll be able to move on to the second. The next subject is the other required subject that I have. I just need an A in this subject, but I'm going to try and get an O. It is Muggle Studies, and prompt 1 for A is cover that includes an actual photo element. And G in her announcement video says basically it's just an actual photo of something, so it can be a person, an item, whatever. So for that I selected Summer of '69 by Ellen Hildebrand. There are actual people on the cover, the actual ocean, and real surfboards. So I figured that fulfilled that prompt. For an E, you have to read a book set in our real world. And so for that, I selected Nelson DeMille's The Cuban Affair. All of his books are set in our actual world. To get an O in Muggle Studies, you have to read a book written by a person of color. And for that, I chose On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. So all of the other subjects that I'm going to go over, I only have to read one other book of any subject. So I don't know which one I'm going to select. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen after those two subjects. So next up is arithmancy, and to get an A in that, you have to read a book that ends on an even page number. And so for that, I chose Private Hotel for Gentle Ladies by Ellen Cooney. This ends on page 304. So that is an even number. To get an E in arithmancy, you need to read a standalone, and for that I chose 100 Summers by Beatrice Williams. And for an O, you need to read a book that's longer than 350 pages, and I chose The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty, which is 400, there's a bunch of extra stuff in here, 412 pages. This was actually on my Owls TBR in April for herbology, I think. So we'll see if I get to it this month. Probably not, because it's the O book, and I don't think I'm going to get to the O's in all of my subjects. But hey, it's here. Next subject is charms, and for charms, to get an A, you need to read a book with a gorgeous cover. I chose Alternate Sides by Anna Quindlen. I love this cover. I love how bright and colorful it is. I think it's gorgeous, so I chose it. To get an E in charms, you need to read a comic, graphic novel, manga, or book under 150 pages. I don't own comics, graphic novels, or mangas. They're not a type of book that I normally read. And I'm trying to grab books for this TBR that I already own. For this, I selected The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. This is a short story that follows a character from the King Killer Chronicles. If you don't count the author's endnote, which I'm not, this is 147 pages, so under 150 pages. And then to get an O in charms, it's the Spongify, the Softening Charm, read a paperback. So I selected book 3 from the Hannah Swenson series for this, Blueberry Muffin Murder. So obviously I would have to read the second one and complete that challenge first, but this is a paperback, so yeah. Next up is astronomy. To get an A in astronomy, you need to read a book with the moon on the cover or anywhere in the title. I selected Moonlight Becomes You by Mary Higgins Clark. It has the moon and moon in the title, so that definitely counts. To get an E, you have to read a book with the word night in the book title or series name. So I selected The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And then to get an O in astronomy, it's read a sci-fi book or a book with stars on the cover. So I don't own a lot of sci-fi books. So I hopped on Google and typed in, sci-fi books, and a book kept coming up, even though I didn't think it was considered a sci-fi. There's a book that kept coming up in every list of books that I read. And it was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Even though this is more of a dystopian novel, all of the explanations that I read said that it has some themes that are very common in sci-fi, so that's why it's considered to also be a sci-fi. I'm probably not going to get to this, so I'm not terribly concerned about possibly bending the rules on this a little bit, because most likely I'm not even going to get to it, but I wanted to have a book selected just in case. And then finally, for Defense Against the Dark Arts, to get an A in Defense Against the Dark Arts, you needed to select a book that is black under the dust jacket. So I selected John Grisham's The Whistler, and it is completely black under the dust jacket. To get an E in Defense Against the Dark Arts, what you had to do was, it's called Gilderoy's Memory Charm, and you had to think of the first book that came to mind from your TBR. And there's no doubt in my mind, I knew instantly the same book that appeared in my Owls as well. And it's a book that's been on my TBR the longest. I just need to get it done. Maybe this month it'll happen. It didn't happen in April, so maybe August is the month. And that is The Storm Testament by Lee Nelson. And then finally, the last book on my TBR for the NEWTS Readathon is the O for Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is Cornish Pixies, which basically it was Slap Them Away, with a book written by an English author or set in England. And I chose Agatha Christie. She's an English author, Murder on the Orient Express. Okay, guys, so there are 18 books all stacked up here for my August TBR. Obviously, I'm not going to get to all of these. There's no way I am going to get to all of these. I don't have a lot of plans in the month of August, so I think it's possible that I can at least meet my goal of passing my NEWTs and accomplishing my career goal. Let me know. I'm going to take these off my lap now. They're heavy and it's hot in this room. Let me know down below if you are participating in the NEWTs. I would like to know what house you are in, what career you're going for, what subjects you're most excited to read, what prompts you're the most excited about. I am so looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to it basically since the Owls ended. That's it for now. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.